folks, welcome to another race at the Bwoah Racing League hosted by RoadRunnerRacingCo Esports. I'm Sarthak, and alongside me, co-commentator Dalvin will be joining us soon enough. But today, it's the British GP of the Bwoah Racing League Season 5, and we've got some heavy hitters coming out on track this time around. 19 drivers are expected to compete today, and of course, first off, to begin with, short qualifying. Ahead of a 50% race distance race. 26 laps of racing is in store for us to come. 19 drivers in 18 minutes of short qualifying begin soon enough. They'll be out on track, and soon enough I'll have Dalvin for company as well. Folks joining us in, make sure you drop in the chat who you're here for, who do you think will be on top of qualifying, who will take pole position at Silverstone. An incredible track. I'm pretty sure Dalvin will have lots to say about it and his experience out on track as well. A fellow league racer himself. Yeah. Once I get a bit of stats on screen, we'll see a couple of cars come out on track as well. Of course, we've got newbies out on track this time around with the likes of Helium coming out on track as a higher driver. He'll be joined alongside of Derp. So Horning sitting this one out. And we got Gambler, an absolute incredible reserve driver from even Season 4 for that matter. We see 4 cars coming out on track on our screens, and let's get some lap data. We got Eccentric in his 3 appearances in Bwoah Racing League so far. He's won 2 of the races, and same goes with the likes of Oxygen, who will be out on track. He's come out on track quite a few times this season, much more regularly, but back in Season 4, the one outing he'd had, he ended up winning as well. So quite the heavy hitters, and let's not forget the likes of UK, who's won 2 out of the last 3 races. We got KDB, 2-time champion of the Bwoah Racing League, out on track. We got Big Man Joe as well. No, Big Man Joe sitting this one out, and that means that Scubarabi filling his spot alongside Oxygen. Scubarabi, this is his second consecutive race not racing for the team he signed up for alongside the likes of Andre and Guts, so he'll be scoring points only for himself. His team was competing for the constructors title and still is, as a matter of fact, but has been on the back foot for the last couple of races. Once Dalvin's back here in the comms box, he'll be able to give us an insight on that as well. Stay on board Oxygen as he's on his out lap, and one of the heavy hitters out on track to set a lap time. First on the board, Eccentric as well. Eccentric, of course, is invalidated his out lap, so it doesn't quite matter. He'll be starting a fast lap as well. Got the likes of RB Ferrello, 8 as well out on track. He's known to make those last to first challenges translate into good results, shall we say. And as I say that, we got Davin, the comms boss. Davin, how you been?
Welcome. Hey. Yes, I've been hearing you for the past 5 minutes, and I've finished setting up my devices, so here we go. It's been a long day, but British Grand Prix, man. Home of motor racing, home of Williams, McLaren, I don't know, any team that wants to call it a home. Pretty much almost every team on the F1 grid has a base in Britain. So it'll be interesting to see which driver really wants to claim it to be their home race and go for it. Of course, the likes of Ferrari, AlphaTauri, and Red Bull, they're not going to be considering this as their home race, but they're likely to beat the Brit teams in their home turf. So yeah, what's happening so far?
Yeah, well, so far not a single time on the board, but quite the heavy hitters out on track, like I mentioned. Helium, a newbie, out on track. It's his debut. Heard that he's real quick, as quick as the likes of KDB, Derp, and Envy for that matter. Maybe a second off of Envy or so. We also got Oxygen as well as Eccentric, who performed incredibly last season, and this season around we can expect good results too.
And to start it off, I'm greeted with a fastest lap by Deb at 27.3. Pretty good banker time to set on the softs, which only shows that it's a pretty good time, I feel. And a 27.0 by Eccentric. As you've mentioned, I think Eccentric has been putting in some good reserve performances. Am I right about that?
Yeah, precisely. And as you say, that it's Envy second fastest out on track, but by quite a bit. And UK still a heavy hitter in the top 5. Sicknig as well, but then again, we've still got 13 drivers, okay, 12 drivers now, still yet to set a lap time. Folks, if you can predict the fastest lap in chat, that'll be great. Let's see if you'll get it right. 127.010 so far. Who's going to set the quickest lap time come the end of qualifying? Oh, seems
And I just... Yep.
yeah, you too?
Yeah, I got disconnected.
Yeah, I wonder, we'll definitely have another lobby coming up soon enough. Or will we? Oh, sending us back into shock qualifying, surprisingly enough. I wonder if this is an error throughout the lobby. Let's get in touch with the drivers and find out what's up.
Indeed. Yep. It looks like. Yep.
You should see what's happening on our screens. But regardless, for those of you watching, stay with us. Soon enough, we'll resume shock qualifying. Until then, let us resolve things soon enough.
Yep. It seems that I'm back in the lobby, and drivers are going around normally, but there were some drivers who have disconnected. So we'll look for an official confirmation from the drivers as well. And yeah. Yep. In the meantime, I think drivers are just happy to set the lap times or even consider a restart.
Yeah, I won't be surprised if we do have a restart. I think, yeah, it's best that we do. Let me get the word out. What do you reckon a quick lap time is around Silverstone, Darwin? You've raced there quite a few times, I can imagine. Thoughts on the track itself?
Oh, it's a very technical and high-speed circuit. But by technical, I mean it's not normally a circuit where you call it to be technical because it has a very high-speed nature, and you have a bit of liberty to make mistakes and you still get the same lap time. But sectors like Maggots and Beckett's where it's a left, right, left, and then if you nail it, it's easily 2 to 3 tenths. I'd say 26.5 might be the best that some drivers are targeting over here. It will be interesting to see if anyone can get into the 25s, but I doubt that will happen today.
And how are things on screen for you in the game itself? All good?
Yes, it looks okay, but Oxygen has been disqualified from the session for parking in the pit lane. Not sure if that's intentional or not, but yeah, Oxygen seems to be out from the session now itself. 19 drivers remaining, so well, he will be starting 19th for now.
I believe. All right. Okay. Soon enough, we should have some sort of activity on our screens. Let me quickly try and see if we can come back. Alright, we're back. Seems like we should be good to go this time around. Sector 2 lights up yellow. I guess a slow moving car. But yeah, as you said, Oxygen disqualified first driver to end his stint in qualifying. Purple Sector 3 for Eccentric on his outlap. So he just started a fast lap of zone.
Yeah, and 27.0 by him. Yeah, first sector is going pretty well. Let's see towards the end of first sector, how much can he improve? Onto the straight DRS, first of the DRS zones over here, the shorter one, but also an overtaking spot for many. Doesn't seem to be setting a time over here, or it might just be bugged. The delta might be bugged because I don't see any timing from him, but he is definitely pushing. You can see from the way he's taking the corners, he is definitely pushing and heading into cops here. Oh, flat out, can he keep it flat though? Oh, he loses it a bit, just a little bit, and catches it in time. Beckett's left and a right, and then flick it left once again, and then another right, and then just plant the power out of it onto the straight, onto the grass as well. DRS wide open, and purple middle sector for him, which means he's definitely improving on his lap time. Can he improve into stow? 5th gear, 6th gear, just throw it in, let the downforce do the work. Oh, and he invalidates just a millimeter wide on the exit curb, and his lap is done. He'll be starting another lap, looks like it, and good luck to him. Another driver out on track as well, Envy, setting his lap time. Is already at Megan's and Beckett's as we go through, and flick it left and right. Oh, it misses a bit. Onto Chapel, onto the hanger straight. What can he do? So far, he's setting a purple as well for himself, so he's definitely looking for an improvement over here. Signing meanwhile sets at 27.5. Envy into the last sector, into stow. Very conservative, trying not to invalidate his lap. Definitely, he has 2 more attempts after this. Left, right, and the wheel chicane. Come on, onto the straight, onto the finish line. What does he set? A 26.8 indeed. That is the fastest lap so far. Oh, good one.
Mind you, a bunch of these other drivers still yet to set stellar lap times in this qualifying session. 15.5 minutes left short qualifying. In the top 5, you got the likes of KDB, UK, close enough. So even Gouts, for that matter, in the top 10. So drivers who might have not performed their best last time around at Canada are bringing their best to Silverstone.
Yeah, and I have my eyes on Signic today because pre-race, a few days before the race, we were just chatting about setups for Silverstone and gave some tips and whatnot. And he seems to be really up there with the pace. So I'm wondering if he managed to nail the setup or something. And he didn't want to reveal the details of the setup, but I'm guessing by the times that he has put in, I think he's pretty happy with that, and we're about to see a show from him. A podium from him would be very, very nice to see.
Yeah, who knows? You can take credit for that.
Well, that's always nice to get some credit, but credit due to drivers as well for making it work on track, because as we know, in this game, setups pretty much make the difference. Any driver that runs the same setup, they may not have the same pace. So if they can find what's best for them and put their best performance out on track, I think that's the best way to go about it. And so far, the likes of NVX, Centric, and Derp as well, almost close up to the top 2 there.
Yep.
They seem to be just a league ahead of everyone else for now.
Yep, you bring up Derp. He's on a fast lap. Just got his previous lap time beaten by Kuberabi, who's 3rd fastest out on track. But it's Derp who set sector 1. It's lit up purple for him. He did dip the left front wheel onto the grass there in sector 2, in the entrance to sector 2, as he goes through that same part of the track. We saw that infamous incident between Hamilton and Verstappen, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, cop pace. And Megan's and Beckett's comes around and onto the hanger straight as well. Will this be a purple for him as well? Yes, it's another purple for him, which means he is still improving on his lap time. Into stow, a little bit of traffic over there. Throws the car into the corner, plant the power, and he invalidates it as well. And immediately he's into the pits. A good reaction there to jump into the pits immediately and reset for it.
2 brilliant sectors thrown away. Unfortunate for Derp. But I'm pretty sure he'll come out again and put in some banger sector times. Let's stay on board Sicknick, who's gotten quite a bit of tips from Dalvin with regard to setups. He's on an out lap, so soon enough we'll see him on a fast lap. Is Kuberabi on another fast lap, or is he on a cool down one before he heads into the pits? Cool down it is.
That's a cool down it is, yep.
UK sector 3, fast lap.
Interesting. Williams' home team. Let's see.
Well, so we say it like it's not too hard to believe it, but UK's won last, 2 out of the last 3 races. I mentioned this before, and probably a bit unlucky over at Canada. Come Silverstone, he just set the 3rd fastest lap time so far. What do you reckon? You reckon he's got a shot going into the race itself?
Yeah, definitely. This race specifically, usually the safety car tends to play quite a bit of a role here, because if there's an early safety car out, you don't want to be stuck on the hard tires. So being on the softs, I think, is also a good option to start in front, pull away if you can, or be with the leading pack out in front, and just build a little bit of a buffer for yourself in case an unwanted incident happens, and you can react to it. Being in the top 3, I think it's definitely a big help in that sense for him.
And another driver out on track making up time is UT. He goes through sector 1, 3/10 faster, and he's entering sector 2 as we speak. Let's stay on board UT. He's not shown up to the race, much like Mr. Wex as well last race around, and we've got both of them out on track. We got Streeter as well, hoping to see at least some great performances from the likes of these drivers who we've seen capitalize on moments of the safety car out on track and moments of errors from other drivers as well. Could go the distance and probably call them the individuals who show up when it's required and deliver as well for their team, as UT steers clear of another driver who was incredibly quick around that sector too. I believe that's Sickening. It could have been Sickening. It was.
Yeah, it was Sickening. He was giving way to, and also to Derp. I just wonder if UT looks like he's on low fuel mode, probably because he's just cruising back to the pits. Oh, he's just slowly giving way to everyone. Yep, indeed he is. And hopefully he has not impeded anyone, because that wouldn't be too nice of him to do so. But into the pits he goes. And no, he stays out. He's probably going to start his lap now. Okay.
Yeah, and Sickening couldn't set a lap time, so let's back to UT. Hoping to see some a quick lap time on the board.
That B2 Helium 26.9. What
there
a
you
showing by the reserve driver. Wow. Okay, so it looks like a day of the reserves, and second drivers today, possibly Eccentric, Helium putting in some brilliant performances, and we still out on top with a 26.8. Can someone challenge him as well?
Yeah.
And there's a Wild Gouts on the exit of the, I don't know which straight this is, but this is the first straight, the Wellington straight. Yeah. Gouts gives way to UT as well. UT doesn't really look like he's pushing the corners too hardly. Perhaps just taking it cautiously here.
Yeah, I wonder, are all... Yep, I think, yes, the top 3 are all on fast laps. So this is going to be a brilliant showing. With 9 minutes left to short qualifying, we're going to see some banger lap times out on track. And as you mentioned, it's the day of the reserves. Fastest driver out on track is our championship leader, Envy, as he goes through sector 2.
Yep. Meckens and Beckett. Ooh, clunks the curb. Eccentric sets a 26.6 to claim the provisional pole for now. Can Envy do any better as well? Onto the hanger straight. Doesn't set a purple, but the hanger straight. After that, it comes the Stowe corner where he invalidated his previous lap. He did not invalidate it, but he was very cautious. Can he push a bit more? And oh no, he invalidates his lap. That's the end of his lap as well. Well, we have enough time to go for another round. I do believe that the timing is slightly glitched because we are seeing 5 minutes, but it's probably only 2 or 3 left. Yep, there we go. Checkered flag is out, so any driver that has crossed the line after this will not be able to start a lap. Envy is not able to start a lap as well. Eccentric though, still out on track. He is currently P1. He's still going for it, but I think he can call it a day and claim his pole.
Yeah, but... Yeah, exactly what I was going to bring up. Derps on a fast lap. He was incredibly slow through sector 1, it seemed like. Let's stay on board. Let's see if he can make it up for in sector 2. No, he slows down incredibly. Steers clear of the other drivers out on track. Let's stay on board. Sickening, he's on a fast lap. Oh, he's invalidated it.
Yeah, it looks like he
KDB?
has, but he has managed to improve towards 27.2, which is good for him. KDB, meanwhile, in the bottom of the top 10, so a place you do not want to be on the soft tires at the start. Into sector 3, into Stowe, throws the car in. You can see just how much he's fighting the car. Into the final chicane, can he nail this? Left, and then flick it right. Oh, clunks a lot of the curb, but gets a good exit nevertheless. onto the straight. How much can he improve? Just about a half a tenth. Puts him up into P9, 27.5, 1 second off the pace.
Yeah, he did whatever he could, but it wasn't enough. And Envy did as well, but his eccentric coming out on top of this qualifying session. It's pole position for the second time in Season 5.
Yep, and good showing as well. And look at that, Alfa Romeo 3 and 4. What an interesting grid we have. So perhaps some team play coming in from the Alfa Romeo drivers. Can we see a good showing, a good race from them and everyone else on grid? Only time will tell.
Yeah, you can expect great things there. Can't you? Like, second row is locked up by the Alfa Romeo boys. UK is close. I think this is the kind of position he has started in those two races. He ended up winning as well, I presume. And yeah, it just might work out for him come the race. Baby Shumi starting at a relatively not so great position, P14, down in P14. We've seen him come out and do well in short qualifying. We've seen him be in the top 10 more often than not. Unfortunate to see him down there, but guess what? The team's got Sicknig on the top.
Yeah, and also I forgot to mention that Cuba Rabbit this time around, he's driving for the Williams. Alongside UK, they are locking out the third row. So we have Alfa Romeo row 2 and Williams row 3. So again, it's always good to have a teammate up there with you to cover off some, unknown possibilities that other drivers might throw at you. Let's see if they get a good start as well. And perhaps the likes of KDB, Harry Rocks, Baby Shumi, who's had a one of good performances down in P14. Perhaps he can show up in the Merc as well.
Yeah, and there might just be an issue with the lobby. Hopefully there isn't. But yeah, soon enough we'll be ready for the race itself. 26 laps of racing around the brilliant circuit of Silverstone.
Yeah, the former military base, as a lot of people know it, and it has been decommissioned for a long time and converted to a racetrack. But what a racetrack it is! All the type of corners you want: high speed, low speed, middle speed, and even a long-ish straight that's not fully long enough to make overtakes. But if you get a good run coming out of Maggots and Beckets, you're close enough to someone, and there you go. Overtake is on the horizon. And with a high-speed stow to end it off, drivers always are going to be risking it to dive it down the inside or around the outside as well, which is relatively difficult to pull off, but so amazing to watch. Drivers are definitely now considering their strategies. Top 10 will be starting on softs because that's the tie they qualified on. 11 to 19. I wonder though, only 2 drivers currently electing for the medium street drivers now. Baby Shumi, RB Fairlow, who's down in P15 as well. Andre, 3 drivers have selected the mediums. And Mr. Vex joins the party of mediums as well. A good option there to start on the mediums, go along in case there's no safety car, and end it on the softs, which will be the faster race tire.
Alright, I believe Drunken Monkey will be joining the lobby as well if he can, so he'll be starting all the way back in P20. Points matter all around, all 20 positions receive points. But if anything we've learned in the races of Season 5 is that it's a mighty feat to even finish this season in the Bwoah Racing League.
Yeah, I really like the option to give points to everyone. That just encourages battles all over the track. Every point matters, as you say. So if any driver is feeling dejected that they didn't get a good scoring point, perhaps they can just race for the position at the back. Perhaps maybe if they are at the edge of the top 10, spin on the soft tires and go for it once again, and get a fastest lap on the end, and claim a good post in our social media as well. I guess that's a good confidence booster, isn't it, Sarthak? I think some drivers have been really excited to claim the driver of the day and the Thunder lap as well.
Yeah, precisely. We see them gunning for it, even if they're beyond the top 10 positions. I think they've been all the more cautious with regard to the Thunder Lap aspect of it as well, because they're aware, losing out on that P12 matters this time around. If you're gunning for the fastest lap, just for that post on social media. So every position matters, and everything counts this season, and they've been enjoying it, all the drivers, not only just the 20 but the 10 reserves as well as a few hires who have joined in recently.
Yeah, and formation lap, Sarthak, the lap that you like the most, the build up to it, bring us through it as these drivers are getting ready, weaving on track. What do you think it's going through their mind in this point?
Yeah, I mean, Davin, think about it, right? The last couple of races, every race for that matter, the last 4 laps of a race has been gripping. It's got us off our chairs at our homes. And every race at the end, after we hit, we end the live stream, we tell each other, oh, what a race, one hell of a race. So, formation lap, we enjoy it. I'm pretty sure a bit of nerves going through some of the drivers out on track. I'm pretty sure Helium probably will be going through some of those nerves, feeling a bit nervous. It's his debut in the Bwoah Racing League. And yeah, Eccentric on pole position. We've got Envy up in front. Envy needs to deliver race after race after race because he needs to hold on to that championship lead. The closest driver is one of the most consistent drivers in Bwoah Racing League, RB Ferrello, who's starting P15. Can you imagine that? Yet he's going to hold on to that second in the standings in the Drivers' Championship. So yeah, each one of these drivers will be thinking differently, and as we've seen away from the race itself, that some of these drivers have an extra voice in their ears as well, with the likes of their team principals motivating them. So a few wise words from the third person in the voice channel on their Discords will be given to them, I'm sure.
Yeah, always helpful to have a race engineer, giving you tips and giving information about your rivals out on track helps with the decision making, whether you want to go for an overcut and undercut, which is going to be very crucial around here in a few laps time, and also to give you a rundown of who's doing what on track and what not. And yep, 5 lights are going to be on very, very soon as Oxygen, the last driver on the grid, P19, lines up into his box very, very, very slowly. There we go. He's in. 5 lights coming on, Sarthak.
Yeah, hopefully.
Take us through it.
Yeah, hopefully we don't have any sort of issues in the start. It's Eccentric on pole position. 5 lights come on, and they go out in a brilliant start from none of the drivers, I'd like to say. Envy still having a fumble in the front. Eccentric still ahead. Helium trying to close in on the front too with Derp to follow. None of them are wheel to wheel, but in the midfield I see a couple of cars wheel to wheel. All positions are held as they've started, and it's Hyrox 24 battling it out with Sicknig. The first battle out on track.
Yeah, and at the back as well, I think drivers are just squabbling over
positions. Oh, we got a spin.
Oh, that's a McLaren white. McLaren off.
Yeah, and I think that's Gouts. Yes, it is Gouts early on. Sector 1 lights up yellow and up ahead. No change in the order. Isn't this surprising, Dalvin?
Yeah, not too surprising, I'd say, in Silverstone. But come a few laps time, I think once drivers are up to grips with their tires and the fuel loads, I think we'll be seeing some moves. But for now, I think first lap is where you can make out majority of the positions, get a better position strategically. And into corps as well. A lot of drivers running wide over there. Heavy fuel loads definitely throwing them off a little bit. Maggots and Beckets, can we see some moves coming out of here as well?
Oh, we might just see the first move in between the front runners. Look how close they are. The likes of Envy and Eccentric within 2/10.
Yeah, close enough. Not close enough, I must say, because without DRS assist, it's pretty difficult to make a pass over here. Exactly though. Keeps his lead for the moment. Envy right on his gearbox. Helium, Derp, UK, everyone just look at that, all the way down to P9, P17. They're all within a second of each other. It's interesting to see if these gaps will start to open up.
Yeah, Envy just holding on right behind Eccentric for that much longer. Tries to peak. The gap exists, but he doesn't have what he needs, just the pace to close in and line himself alongside the Eccentric, and Eccentric gets the better exit out of that corner, and he's pulled away by a 10th or so more. Helium just that much closer to Envy as well. Derp just as close. The gap's all within a second of each other, all the way down to P17.
There. First one to make a move, I guess, up into P14. Overtakes UT. RB Fellow surprising on the mediums, makes a move on UTs on the softs. Probably a very good exit by RB Fellow there.
Yeah, and let's get the tire details out on the screens for our viewers. Those of 18 of you all watching, make sure you drop in the chat who you're here for. Who do you think will be out on top in the laps to come? I see a couple of drivers wheel to wheel. I think Oxygen and UT line up alongside each other. Oxygen going through that part of the track in aggressively up at a P15.
Yeah. Wax down in P12 now, lining up a move on Baby Shumi. They were almost side by side into Maggots and Beckets, but Baby Shumi just made it out ahead. He will keep it in P11 for now. But all the while he's losing touch to Streeter, who's up in P10.
Yeah, up in front. That gap's not going anywhere, is it? Envy and Eccentric holding on in the front with Helium and Derp to follow. UK sets the fastest lap time, 1 minute 30.444. Andre and Mr. Wex battling it out in the midfield.
Yeah, Andre gets a good exit out of the last corner, and Mr. Wex, they had a poor one as well, so which means Andre is up into P12 and he's almost challenging Baby Shumi. Pokes his nose down the inside, but Baby Shumi just keeps it calm and keeps it ahead for now. Oh, there's a little bit of contact there. Mr. Wex runs into the back of Andre, and Mr. Wex loses an end plate there, and as you can see, he is losing more positions. RP fellow, while the old fox sneaky beaky and takes the P13 away from Wex as well.
Yeah, his next two opponents are, of course, Andre and Baby Shumi. Next two drivers to pick off one by one from P15 to P13 already within a matter of 3 laps. And he's not going to be stopping anytime soon.
Yeah, and all the while the gap up in front though, it's still less than a second. Envy now only 2/10 behind Eccentric, heading into Maggots and Becker's DRS. This time around is activated. Will Envy make use of it? Is not really looking to make a move immediately. Eccentric though, oh, he's vulnerable. Is Envy going to go for it? No, he lifts off a bit. Just in time, he's just taking his time.
And as we say that, now it's just the top 9, all within a half a second of each other, one another. Of course, Baby Shumi closing in on the likes of Andre, who's recently just made a move on Baby Shumi. Helium sets the fastest lap time and quickly picked off by the likes of KDB, who's currently running P7 in Sector 3. Lights up yellow. Fumbles at the back.
Yeah, looks like there is UT. Yes, UT has run off wide at the last sector. Mr. Wax as well in the meantime has gone into the pits to get rid of his broken wing.
And I think that was an incident between UT and Vix356, who I saw running wide as well. Who's down P18 as we speak. First driver to pit, of course, Mr. Wax, as you mentioned. And gaps are extending now at the back of the pack. We got the likes of Gods, Gambler, UT all beyond the 2-second mark between each other. And up ahead, top 9 within a second of one another.
Yeah, and as you mentioned that, I think it's really good that these top 9 are within a second of each other. It helps the likes of UK and KDB to be in contention for the win even it come the end of the race, because Eccentric is just really holding on to his dear life out there in P1, holding up everyone in this train, and Envy has sensed an opportunity this time around. Will he go for a move down the inside? Will he dive it? No, he's still not going for it. Looks like Envy's just holding back another lap, perhaps waiting for the right opportunity to go for the move. Vix356 meanwhile picks up another 3-second penalty. That will be, well, not too good for him come the end of the race, because he will be getting demoted. But out in front though, the gaps are still so close. Kibarabi sets at 30.9, 30.1, and Harryrox sets at 29.8. So drivers are just starting to push a little bit in the DRS train, perhaps looking for an avenue to pass. But it's to no avail. Everyone is in the DRS train. It makes it even more difficult to pass. Eccentric meanwhile still leads away from Envy, who is still trying to find his way through as well.
Yeah, and then it's on the gearbox of Eccentric. But yeah, he's just staying still right behind Eccentric. Oh, a gap opened up perhaps. Eccentric did go wide, but no, just not there. He's going to hold out of the race lead for that much longer. And of course, it's RB Ferrello closing in on the likes of Baby Shumi this time around. It's not even there. There's no difference. The 5 laps up, and the standings hasn't changed that much. We got Mr. Wex falling all the way back, and he's got a 20-second gap between the likes of X356 and himself.
Yeah, and this time around, Envy once again fumbling in Maggots and Beckett's, but with the assistance of DRS, helps to close down the gap once again, but he's not really going for it. So Envy possibly looking for a good exit out of Maggots and Beckett's to launch a move on eccentric, but to no avail, his move will have to wait. Baby Shumi now loses the position to RB Fellow as well. What a move done by RB Fellow up into P12 as he closes up into the DRS train.
Yeah, the longer things are going to play out in the front, it's playing into the hands of RB Ferrello, isn't it? He's just going to pick them up one by one. Say a safety car comes out at some point in this race, and he's poised for the best race result at the end of the day.
Yeah, and like you say, the longer it goes, I think the medium runners in general are going to benefit a lot from it, because just look at the gap. The medium runners are not too far off the entire soft train, so they're all almost within a straight over here. Which could mean, if there's no safety car, probably the soft runners will have to box. The medium runners will take the lead, and someone like RB Fellow, who's known to be, running the alternate strategy pretty well, he might just be benefiting from this as well. But once again, coming into Maggots and Beckett's this time around, can Envy get much closer to eccentric, to Maggots, Beckett's, and can he get a better exit out into Chapel as well? But looks like the gap is still staying the same, 4 tenths only though. Will Envy want to go for it? No, he's still not pushing. He's just pushing, but not pushing enough. Looks like he's just, once again, I think he's just holding back a few laps. He wants to force eccentric into a mistake, and there we go. Right as we speak about it, eccentric picks up a 3-second time penalty, which means Envy now just has to drive slowly, drive cheerfully behind eccentric and make the move when he wants to. But all the while he's waiting to make a move on eccentric, everyone behind him is catching up in the train, so Envy might have to make a move sooner rather than later if he wants to get away with the win.
And yeah, mind you, the folks in the chat mentioned rightfully so, the top 9 still within half a second of within a second of each other, for that matter, getting DRS lap after lap on each other as well.
Yeah, and DRS is definitely helping them to stay in the train and preserve their battery power. But guess what? Lap after lap, I've been watching eccentric, and his battery levels are depleting. He's down to 25% as we entered Corps, and Envy though still chilling at 85%. So this looks like a move coming in. Perhaps, just perhaps, the gap is much closer as well. Can he go for it this time around?
Yeah, I think it's just eccentric, but Helium trying to line up alongside of Envy, and he's half a car length right alongside of Envy, and into the next corner. He should be ahead of Envy. They stay wheel to wheel as they go through the entrance of Sector 3, and up into P2 he goes. Eccentric dives into the pits, and just like that, around the outside comes Envy. It's a fight for the race lead now, and Envy is not going to back off this time.
Yeah, Helium just forced Envy into a mistake there, into Corps, into Stowe, and now they are costing each other some time during these pit stop phases, which means if they're gonna keep fighting like this, they might be even losing some position to eccentric due to the undercut. So let's see if they can keep it out on track. Will they respond as well? Because 9 laps are done. These tires are past their best. Mediums will be coming into the play as well.
Yeah, earlier on it almost seemed like UK was lining up a move on Derp as well at the same section. Envy and Helium were fighting it out. But yeah, he stays in P4. I think he's going to buy this time. I think he's playing the long game. He wants that race win.
Yeah, and if you want a race win, you got to definitely think about the race. And as well, you can't be making moves quite erratically just to get one position, but possibly losing 5 at the end. So Envy, meanwhile, I think he has had enough. He's trying to pull away from Helium and Derp, the 2 Alfa Romeo, on his gearbox for the past 8 laps, and he doesn't want to see them anymore as he finally gets a race lead. But will he box this time around?
Just my eccentric, who ended up boxing, came out in P16 ahead of his teammate for this race, Gambler, on a fresh set of mediums. Mind you, he's got that time penalty which we saw him pick up on the last lap before he headed up into the pits. And Vic C56 running in P15 picks up one of his own.
Yeah, and crucially though, Sarthak, if you look at where eccentric has come out on track in P16, he came out just right behind BRL Wicks, and he's trying to make a move this time around. Up into P15, he will go very, very shortly. Yes, P15 goes to Eccentric, but he has lost crucial seconds by staying behind Bwoah Wicks. Now he has about 5 seconds gap to make sure the undercut is working in his favor before Envy will start to consider his decision as well.
Yeah, up ahead, Gaps hasn't changed much. Of course, Gaps has opened up between Kuberabi, Hyrox24 and Streeter. We got over 1.5 second gap, 3 second gap between Hyrox24 and Streeter in the midfield. But yeah, Envy steers clear, almost opened that gap up in a second now between him and Helium.
Yeah, looks like a bit of cleaner is finally helping him, but the DRS is so powerful around here. You just need to stay with it a second and you can cut the gap to half by the end of the hangar straight. And looks like Helium definitely knows what's the plan. Dub as well, just following his teammate through. Perhaps we might see an undercut coming from either of these Alfa Romeo boys to attempt to take the race lead away from the Ferrari of Envy. But no, it's this time around. Oh, they are double stacking! Oh, the Alfa Romeo drivers are double stacking. Envy also into the pits. UK now inherits the race lead. So, what a decision by the Alfa Romeo drivers to double stack. That might just cost them a little bit of time, because although the double stacking is fixed, but it's gonna lose them about a second or two more by being stationary. Well, all in the meantime, UK now takes the lead. KDB is within a second of UK as well. So, look at that. The two old favorites are back in front. Are they pulling off the big old overcut on their rivals on track in hopes that the fresher mediums will do the job?
We talk about the rivals who are coming out of the pits as we speak. Envy and Helium, they're going to come out just when Eccentric is on track, closing in as well. They're almost battling it out as Envy comes out of the pits. Not enough. Envy stays behind Eccentric, and that might have just costed him, but then again Eccentric has that time penalty to worry about.
Yeah, and perhaps the undercut did not really work out in Eccentric's favor, because he was held up for about half a lap behind Vix 356, and now Envy putting in some good laps during the overcut and just comes out within half a second of Eccentric. And Helium as well, looks like he might have had a fumble coming out of the pit lane, and he has dropped about 3 seconds to Envy now. And he's so clear run for Envy.
And he's threatened for position as well, as Vix 356 lines up alongside him and picks up that position easily. Of course, he's on soft tires, so mind you, no wonder he does, and so does Kuberabi. Okay, what is happening with Helium? He just lost 2 positions in a matter of 2 corners.
Yeah, he might be carrying some damage. Look at that. He's just undestroyed through maggots and buckets, and now Dub won't pass him as well.
Yeah, he's lost an end plate, so he didn't have the greatest of exits out of the pit stop. But up ahead, a fumble perhaps or not a fumble. It's UK and KDB who've ended up in the pits together, and Andre leads a race for the first time in the Bwoah Racing League.
Yeah, and on the medium tires as well. So the medium runners now making use of their
retirement.
That's the yellow. Yep, let's hold the thought. It's Helium who has retired into the pit lane, so that should be a pretty safe retirement. Will not trigger safety car, which means the drivers still have to consider getting the moves done out on track. The medium runners, the top 4 who were on the alternate strategy, currently led by Andre, Oxygen, RB Fellow and Baby Shumi, are trying to make something work. Eccentric, meanwhile, is the net race leader right now. Still only half a second ahead of Envy. BRL Wicks and Kuberabi going side by side at the end of the Wellington Straight. What can they do this time around? Kuberabi, who just came out on the medium tires as well. Wicks runs wide, and Kuberabi goes down the inside and takes the position easily as you like.
Here comes Dup as well. He'll be looking to pick off a position sooner rather than later, because his teammate just retired, lines up alongside Vix 356. We got a spinning Ferrari in the back. That's Hyrox24 who's lost it, falls down the order, and Dup goes up in a P10.
Yeah, coming out of Corps as well, he probably lost it on these cold medium tires, and well, luckily for him, he's back out on track and continuing. No one to worry about for him just yet.
And with 12 laps up, we've already got quite the changes happening out on track, with the retirement as well with the likes of Helium. I wonder what went wrong there for him.
Yeah, it's probably, if I'm to guess, he probably hit the wall coming out of the pit exit, and that might have costed him his entire lap. and he called it a day there itself. But surprisingly, Sarthak, I think we missed an important detail. UK picked up a 5-second time penalty in for spitting into the pit lane, so that's gonna be a bummer for him because, well, guess what? Who's within 5 seconds of him? It's KDB, Derb, and also Kubarabi, who are all looking for that one extra position because of UK's penalty.
Yeah, could be unfortunate for UK. He'll be hoping for a safety car now more than ever. And I'm pretty sure Eccentric would like to use one too at this point. Or perhaps not, considering he's got Envy to worry about within half a second, much like the start of this race. Top 4 on 11 lap old mediums. Not too big of a gap, regardless of exception with regard to Rabi Ferrello and Baby Shumi, of course, over 6 seconds of a gap. And Envy's closing in. He's within 3/10 now.
Yeah, but once again, he doesn't want to go for the move and pull away out of Eccentric because, that would really help him against the alternate strategy runners who will be on much fresher and faster soft tires at the end. So Envy, if he's thinking about the race win against Eccentric, he might just be losing out some more positions to the alternate runners there. But let's see if he knows this as well, or he's just taking his time to make a move on the right time.
Yeah.
KDB meanwhile sets 29.3 as the fastest lap, chasing down UK. And wow, look at the gap, it's almost less than 2/10 here, side by side almost. Now he's trying to look for a move. Can he make a move into the Wellington straight? Let's see if he gets a good exit out of this as well. UK out in front has a 5-second penalty, but KEB this time gets the DRS. UK just defends with his extra battery power for now.
Yeah, he's trying his best to deny that slipstream that much longer. And at the back of the pack, I think there's been an incident with the likes of UT Vix T56. Are they continue to battle it out perhaps or not? We got a driver in the pits. It didn't pop up for me. 2 drivers in the pits, in fact, with the likes of Vix T56 and UT.
And Derba going side by side, coming onto the old straight turn 1 where Hamilton and Verstappen collided. Derb goes ahead of Kubarabi this time. Takes P9, but Kubarabi, look at that, he's just sticking to the gearbox of Derb. This might be a re-overtake into the hangar straight. Let's see, into Maggots and Beckett's. They go side very close to each other, less than 2/10 the gap is. Derb pulls out just slightly ahead. Can he keep it ahead though? Kubarabi doesn't look like he's gonna give up this position. He's going for a Derb, weaves on the track, back onto his line, and there we go. He's defending for the one last time. Can he keep this inside line? Yes, he can, but just about. Kubarabi though, meanwhile, does he want to dive it down the inside? But no, he thinks better of it. Keeps the P10 for now.
Yeah, that battle's gonna keep going on. Up ahead though, Andre picks up a time penalty of his own as he continues to lead this race. Envy in a position of opportunity on Eccentric, and KDB as well on gaining a position. He's been on the gearbox of his good friend UK, both champions of Bwoah Racing League.
Yeah, I think it's about time KDB tries to make a move on UK, because what's after UK? It's Envy and Eccentric, essentially the net race lead over there. So UK, if he can catch up to the other two, that would be great. Otherwise, KDB would want to ideally make a move now itself. There they are onto the old pit straight. They can see each other on the same straight. There they are, within 2 to 3 seconds of each other, but the gap doesn't look like it's coming down at all. If anything, it's just staying the same.
Yeah, he did try and use a bit of his battery power there, KDB, but it's UK who's got the advantage in that front, and advantage on track in terms of track position. RB Ferrello, within half a second of Oxygen, it almost seemed like he was lining up a move, but Oxygen, as I say that, he picks up a penalty and stays out on track. It's RB Ferrello heading into the pits.
Yeah, and it's time for the undercut on Oxygen as well. So this might be the opportunity RB Ferrello has been waiting to get a jump on Oxygen, as well as making a comeback on the grid with the softer tires towards the end of the race. 11 laps to go. He pits on the soft tires and he will be the fastest man out on track right now. Let's see where he comes out for the time being. And looks like he might just come out ahead of Harry Rocks, who's still coming around the last corner onto the pit straight. He goes. Yes, Harry Rocks is coming around, but this might be side by side though into turn 1. Look at that, Harry Rocks coming out of the pit lane. Oh, RB Fellow just makes it out ahead on the soft tires, and he will be glad that he made it out into clean air.
And yeah, as it sits, we're getting quite the pairing of battles here. As I say, Akubarabi and Dub battling it out for that position yet again. But Dub this time around stays ahead. So it's Akubarabi down in P9 and Dub up in a P8.
Yeah, they're just juggling positions this time, but all the time they're doing that, they're just losing time to KDB and UK and to Envy Eccentric as well. UK meanwhile has seemed to close up a bit of the gap down to 2.2 seconds this time around. So 3 tenths gain there from the previous lap to Eccentric and Envy, because look at that, Baby Shumi is now holding up Eccentric and Envy.
Oh, KDB
So
lunges down the inside of UK and he's up in a P6, but I don't think that's going to last for too long. He's on the gearbox of KDB this time around. UK that much closer to his friend, backs off into that corner. KDB goes wide, but UK holds on to the gearbox. Contact as well, almost sends KDB into a spin. They're going to stay wheel to wheel as they come along the straight. It's wheel to wheel on the straight, and I think UK is going to be up in a P4 as we see it.
yeah, but crucially he picked up a 3-second penalty there for running off track, and that is going to invite KDB even more to go for the overtake once again. Envy this time we're getting very close to Eccentric. Eccentric is almost making a move into the lead. Yes, Baby Shumi has been overtaken and Eccentric goes back into P1. Can he pull a gap this time around? Can he get out of the 1 second of Envy? Envy is now stuck behind Baby Shumi. Eccentric meanwhile senses this opportunity to pull away, and pulling away is his forte right now. Envy, can he do anything? UK meanwhile still fending off KDB as well all the time. Kubarabi and Dub once again have swapped position. This time Dub falls behind Kubarabi, heading into Maggots and Beckett's.
And yeah, Baby Shumi finds himself in between some heavy hitters here up in front. UK has a huge task in his hand to close the gap as well as keep KDB behind him. We got Dub trying to make his way up the pack as well. So Envy, will he dive down the inside? Audacious, a bit too much contact as well with Baby
KDB
Shumi.
goes for a move as well. Back up into P4 KDB goes, but this time around UK similar position to last lap. It's a carbon copy move of previous lap as well. Will UK get a better cutback line? Will KDB park his car around the inside? Looks like he does a better job this time around, and KDB will keep P3 for now.
Oh, UK almost went into a fumble there. Is going to hold that P4 position. I presume he's aware of KDB's penalties, and he might just be advantages on the battery power front as well. So he's going to buy time. On lap 17, sector 3 lights up yellow. No incident, just a slow moving car I presume. But yeah, he's got DRS this time around. UK is in P4. Baby Shumi has pit, and down the inside goes UK side by side once again. These two, the champions of Bwoah Racing League, stay side by side. Contact!
And they get into contact. UK is sent spinning. What an audacious move there. A little to a well, I don't have words for this anymore. I think that move was just a little too ambitious. These drivers could have worked together to catch up to the race lead, but no, they decided to battle it out on track, and UK comes out worse out of that, and down to P6 he goes behind Dub and his teammate Kubarabi here.
Yeah, mind you, Dub is in an opportunistic position now. He can take that fight to the front runners, to the ones who are net P1, P2 and P3 on lap 17. And he's got the same tires, 6 lap old mediums. Oh, wheel to wheel they go.
Yo, yes. Dub this time around takes it back from Kubarabi. So it looks like these drivers might just be working hand in hand somehow or subconsciously. But you know, in doing so, they're finally caught back up to KDB. You know, the gap is down to less than 5 just now. It's down to 3.8 this time around. So if they can keep this up and catch up to KDB, that's a podium up for contention for them.
And this is an interesting situation they find themselves in. Kubarabi and UK, they're teammates for today. And on track, right now, they're fighting for position. They're in the same voice channel, I presume, so they'll have access to talk to each other. What do you think the call will be, Dalvin? Because Kubarabi is fighting for himself, UK is fighting for the team.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's gonna come down to what the team is thinking about UK, because look at this. I mean, he's already caught back up to Kubarabi and which pretty much shows that he has better pace than the front two. And will Kubarabi play the team game and let UK through and you know, go for the championship as well? Yeah, we're about to see if there's a swapperoo coming around. but all the while they are getting stuck behind Dub. They're not making up any positions to the front runners. Meanwhile, alternate runners such as Andre, RB Fellow and Oxygen are starting to make moves again. And RB Fellow this time down in P10 has made a move on Oxygen, and Oxygen seems to be dropping off quite significantly, perhaps carrying some damage as well.
Andre with the dive. Andre with the dive down the inside on Sicknig, and up into P7 he goes.
Yeah, and Sicknig is now under 10% batteries. Red light is flashing and Streeter can see that as well. Andre on the soft tires, the first of the alternate runners, is finally starting to make some moves. 5 seconds the gap is to UK. How much more can he catch up? How many more positions can he take though? Andre, speaking of that as well, he picks up a 3-second penalty again, cuts the first corner.
Yeah, battles all around in lap number 17 and 16 is what we saw. We are on lap number 19 now, folks. We got 18 drivers out on track, only a single retirement. No virtual safety car, no safety car till now. Eccentric leads this race, having started from pole position, and we're just getting started, I feel.
Yeah, and NB, who was out of the DRS range a few laps ago, is finally back within a second, and I feel we're gonna have a repeat of the first stint where Envy is gonna just line up a move on Eccentric, but this time he's gonna be very definitive when he makes the move, because look at that, they are in the lead 1 and 2, which means whoever ends up ahead is the winner. But Envy though still knows that Eccentric has a 3-second penalty, so Envy can just pretty much just stay behind his rival here, and he's even slowing down.
Yeah, meanwhile, Kuberabi closes in on Derp. It was so close in the in the entry of Sector 3. Almost seemed like they were going to have some contact. But yeah, Derp still ahead of that battle. And now Kuberabi has his teammate for the day right on his tail, and he steers clear. So just might have been Team Orders UK up in a P5. Seems to have the better pace out on track, and he'll be taking that fight to Derp now.
Yeah, but crucially, he's almost out of DRS range. Can he get within DRS though? We're about to find out this time around, because that might just be costing him a 10th or 2 onto this lap. And yes, he is out of DRS range for now. Yep, can he pull away though?
Meanwhile, probably we can take a look at the positions made up by the drivers. We got Andre running P7, having made 9 positions.
Yeah, he's back up into P7, making use of the soft tires to catch up to everyone else. But the gap is not coming down as fast as we'd like, so he'll likely stay P7 for now. And Sicknig is still behind him, has not let go of Andre. So Sicknig is... Oh!
We got retirement.
Harry Rocks has crashed at turn 2. That is turn 2, that's out of the pit lane, and Harry Rocks causes a safety car to be out, and that means... Oh, look at that. Would you look at that, folks? Safety car means everyone will get bunched up once again, and it's advantage for the soft runners who are out on track. While the drivers box for soft tires. Let's see if anyone wants to risk it on the softs. It's the likes of Derb, who is actually going into the pits for soft tires, and UK as well dives into the pits. So these drivers are taking a gamble to lose some track positions for now, but they will be back out on the fastest tires later on.
It's not just them. I see a bunch of other drivers as well. We got Andre, Streeter, Rabi, Ferrello heading into the pits, just as the couple of drivers in front of them do as well. Hydrox 24, he lost his front left, and it forced him to retire, of course. Envy now finds himself ever so closer to Eccentric.
Yeah, well, I guess this is actually helping Eccentric in some way, although he has the time penalty to worry about, but it's also helping out KDB, because if he's close enough to Eccentric come the end of the race, he will benefit from a position. And if KDB can make a move on Envy, that pretty much guarantees him a win. So it's all to play for in the final 3 laps once the safety car goes back in. But look at that, the likes of Oxygen, Derb, who are back out on P5 and 6, are on the softest tires. Ahead of them, all drivers are on 1 medium tires. I'm surprised though by Andre's decision to go into the pits while he was already on the soft tires, losing some more track position for fresher tire. I do not feel that might be the smartest choice, but we're about to see if he can convert it into some good race result.
Yep, and folks, 5 laps left. Our race leader has 3 seconds in time penalty, and what's to say some of these drivers don't pick up more in the next 5 laps. We even got the likes of Sicknig now in the top 5. Oxygen finds himself on 4-lap-old softs in the top 5. And right behind him, he's got a bunch of drivers on fresh set of softs. Apart from Baby Shumi, of course, who's running P7. UT decides to stay out on 10-lap-old mediums.
Yeah, surprising as well, because this was the only opportunity to go for the fresh soft tires. Perhaps just a late call from him, or he's gonna go at the end of this lap either way. But I'd like to bring your attention back to the front side. Andy is currently only on 1 warning, but KDB is on 2 warnings already. So which means these drivers would still have to be careful not to push the limits. Otherwise, they will be picking up some more penalties come the end of the race. Eccentric, who already has the 3 second to worry about, is definitely hoping that his rivals behind him get a warning so that he can win it on track as well.
Yeah, looking for the 20 of you all watching, make sure you drop in the chat which driver do you think is going to end up being on the podium at the end of lap number 26. Right now, it's all to play for at the safety car restart. We got the likes of Eccentric leading ahead of Envy, KDB, Sicknig, Oxygen, and Dup. And what's to say, Baby Shumi is not going to get in on the action as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a 3-lap shootout, or probably even 4 once everyone bounces up quick enough. I think 4 laps would be the best option for the soft runners, because the more laps they have, the more advantage they're going to gain on the front runners as well. But question is, how feisty will all the soft runners get, because they all know that they're going to be gaining some pace and time on the medium runners up in front. So if they're going to play well, are they going to just be selfish and go for each position that they can? It's all going to happen, folks, in the last 4 laps. We know these drivers are not patient towards the end of the race. Never we are patient, but I think that just gives us some more action on track. So drivers now are on track, just weaving their tires left to right, right to left, getting some heat in the tires as the last 3 drivers on track, BRL Wicks, Mr. Wax and Gabler, are slowly catching up back to the pack.
We've got a prediction in chat, Talvin. Big Man Joe, who's been watching the race from the very beginning, says that Dup is in a unique opportunity to possibly pick off the most positions. What do you think?
Let's summarize it that way. Yes, indeed, I see the chat. And Dub is definitely one of the more, let's say, feisty drivers who likes to make moves when the opportunity presents. He does not wait for it. So, if he's sensing an opportunity, he's definitely going to go for it as well. So, it's a long shot, but he might even be in the contention for a race win, looking at how all the medium runners are running on.
Yeah, and like you said, it's all to play for come the safety car restart, which I presume will go in this lap. Lap's just begun, of course. So on lap number 24, we'll have racing again, hopefully enough. We got Gambler still in this race. So just 2 retirements, all 20 positions reward points. Of course, you have to finish 90% of the race at least to receive points if you have retired. Of course.
And we are definitely past the 90% mark at this point. So which means any driver who finishes the race, or even DNFs now, would still be getting some points according to the game. So yeah, they just have to keep it on track for another lap or 2 in case there's incidents, but points is points, like you said.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to count for everything. We keep mentioning points is points, right? Think about it. Gouts and Andre find themselves P9 and P14. Their teammate is Kubarabi, his reserve driver, is fighting for points for himself, and today apparently he's between them rather than well ahead of him, ahead of them in fact. To think the last 2 races he's been up ahead, to think how much points that would have counted for in the constructors. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, and quite interesting dynamics, and on how the reserve driver sometimes comes in and performs better than the first 2 drivers as well, or it's just a matter of how much you have prepared as well. And once again, Sarthak, let's bring your attention to the chat. Everyone is getting happy, getting excited for what's coming in this final 4 laps, final 3 laps. Safety car is in this lap, so we will have 3 laps of racing. Dub wins easy, says Nishay. And Danny as well in the chat, really happy that back markers can have a brawl as well now, and everyone is finishing the race. We have 17 finishes so far, by far the most we have so far. And safety car is in this lap already. Eccentric will be leading it away. Can he make a good getaway? Will the soft runners come on him in a lap time? Let's go, there we go, it's go, go, go. Eccentric gets away. And we right behind him, KDB, Signic, Oxygen, everyone just getting a good launch of the last corner, and looks like it's all well behaved so far.
Yeah, but it's derp, as folks in the chat mentioned, closing in on the likes of Oxygen. Sector 3 lights up yellow, so there's been fumbles at the back of the pack. I see Streeter going down the order as well, and he's gotten well down the order, down to P14.
Yeah, and look at that. Oh, Dub almost made a move on Oxygen. Oxygen also trying a move on Signic as well. So these soft runners are not wasting any time. Oxygen there, immediately on the back of Signic, down the inside. Will he go for it? Will he go for the move? And yes, he goes for the move down the inside. Oh, and they tap a little bit. But Oxygen, with the bad tires, goes around the outside. Can he make the move? Stick to no, Signic just covers the inside and goes ahead once again. Oxygen right on the gearbox of Signic. One more time. Into cops, what can they do? He's getting ever so closer. Can his tires help him to get a closer? Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Just a little, but still, Signic blocks the road into maggots and backwards though. Is this a move coming in for the Envy? Meanwhile, up ahead though, he has lost the position to KDB. Let's not forget that. And Envy is going to attack back. But let's come back to Oxygen, guys. Look at this. Oxygen side by side with Signic. This is for position for P4. Will he make the move stick? And yes, down the inside he goes. P4 is his. Now Derp, can he take advantage of the position? And looks like Derp is not going to waste any time. He's going to dive it down the inside in the last corner.
Contact!
He goes, contact!
Contact, and down goes Oxygen. He's gone all the way down to P11. Disaster for him. He was in such a brilliant position to take that fight all the way more to Envy, but it's just not that. Derp had contact with Oxygen. Down he goes, down the order. Now he's taking the fight to Signic down the inside. Late breaking into the corner. Up into P4 he goes. Sector 1 lights up yellow due to a couple of fumbles at the back of the pack. Oxygen, he keeps on tumbling down the order. He's all the way down to P16, and he's out of the session.
Yep, and Derp now finally making the move. 3 seconds to catch up to Envy and KDB as well. Eccentric meanwhile is slowly pulling out the gap. Can he get a 3-second gap though? Yellow at the back.
Yeah,
that is Oxygen.
Yeah, but
Oxygen
midfield
has lost it.
Yeah, Oxygen's retired. It's been a while, but in the midfield they're going wheel to wheel. Andre's weaving back onto track after going wide. UK taking that fight to Andre around the outside. He peeks. There's a gap. It exists. Andre closes it, and just like that, they're gonna stay in their positions for that much longer on lap number 25. And right behind, Rabi Ferrello and Cuba Rabi close in on likes of UK and Andre.
Yeah, it's getting very, very close right now. Last lap coming up as well. A lap and a half to go. Not much opportunities left for drivers to make a move, but looks like without the DRS assistance, it's looking impossible to make a move in this slipstream train here.
And yeah,
the last corner will be see some feisty move. UK almost looks for a move down the inside of Andre, but no. Eccentric meanwhile sets the fastest lap with a 28.4. He's definitely pushing to get a gap out. 1 lap to go. Can he pull out another 1.5 seconds to KDB and Envy? Will Envy go for the move on KDB?
But in the gap? Yeah, but in the midfield it's Andre and Baby Shumi in contact as well.
Oh, and UK selected him as well.
Oh, disaster for the two drivers. Down the order goes Andre, and UK is without an end plate, so that's probably going to impede his race result. And yes, Rabi Ferrello up a position. Cuba Rabi should get a position as well in the process. No, there was almost contact between the two drivers today driving for the Williams team, so Cuba Rabi has to get it on track fair and square. Down the inside he goes, wheel to wheel. They're going to stay, and up in a P8 he goes, Cuba Rabi.
Yeah, and unfortunately there for UK, because he was almost able to avoid the collision, but let's not dive too much into that.
Okay, on lap number 26 it's Envy and KDB within 2/10 of each other.
Yeah, I wonder if these two are going to hold each other up. Will Eccentric get that elusive 3-second gap though? But looks like Envy is a little too far away. KDB is doing all his best to defend. He's blinking, Envy is coming around the outside. Can he make the move? Around the outside? No. KDB sticks down inside, but no. Envy is still going around the outside. Side by side into the last corner they go. Can they make this thing? KDB does not want to yield. He knows he can get the position, but no.
Oh, contact!
KDB is going around.
No.
KDB sends spinning.
And just like
and
that.
he will cross the line in P2 and win the race. He will.
Oh my god, Derp picks up the podium position. KDB fallen all the way down to P4. He's lost out on the podium after that battle, not going his way. Baby Shumi finishes P5, Kubarabi P6. Abi Ferrello finishes a brilliant P7, a climb. One of them to remember in his long list of climbs, all the way from P15. Sick Nick ended up finishing only in P8, P9 UT, and Gouts in P10. What a race that was. What 3 laps we watched to finish the British GP of Bwoah Racing League Season 5.
Yeah, once again, Sarthak, it's always the last 4 or 5 laps that keeps us on the edge of our chairs, and it did. Once again, the safety car came on right on lap 20, and that gave us a explosive last 3 laps, and there we go. We have your final finishers on track.
Yep. Folks in the chat feel Derp was a bit dirty there. I believe his contact costed Oxygen a really good race result. But at the end of the day, it's Envy on track as race winner of the British GP of the Bwoah Racing League Season 5. Baby Shumi picks up driver of the day.
Yep, rightfully so. Look at the comeback that he made. And he picks up driver of the day. And looks like someone has managed to pick up the Thunder Lap as well. Let's see who picked it up. It is going to be Streeter, but he's down in P16. I wonder if that'll count. A 28.4 from Streeter to set the fastest lap out on track. Look at that. He just beat Eccentric's time by 400ths. That's pretty close, but it's not going to count, I guess. But if it does, well done to him. Well done to him indeed.
A few things to evaluate for the stewards, I'm pretty sure. That battle between Envy and KDB, how fair that was. Of course, UK's incident as well, where he ended up losing an end plate, I believe, with Andre. And then, of course, Derp's contact with Oxygen. It's going to be an interesting post-race stewards verdict at the end of this week. But, yeah, that's the end of the British GP of the Bwoah Racing League Season 5. And Darwin, what a race that was.
Indeed, what a race. British Grand Prix always serves up to be a treat in any race, any league race even, and in BRL as well. We've showed you what it's possible with these drivers. 5 laps to go, and then the safety car came out right on the point, and we got a last 3 laps that, you know, probably will go in the history books. A lot of position changes, a lot of different strategies that were going into the race, and there we go. We have a winners, and we takes P1.
Yeah, and with that, I think we can wrap it up for the 26 of y'all who stayed till the very end. Thank you very much. We head into the mid-season break, a weekend's break, and we'll be back soon enough for a whole lot of racing and wrap up the 24 race calendar soon enough. Cheers, Davin. See you again next race.
Cheers, Sarthak, and have a good break. We will be back, folks. Ciao.